So it's the end of the day, and I shouldn't really have to apologise for how I look, but this is my kind of end of day, just post bedtime. This is a topic that came up today and that I have been planning on talking about for a while, but have not spoken about, and something I don't ever talk about with anyone other than maybe my close family, immediate family. With Chris, it's a topic of all the time. But I was clearing up and hoovering up, and the thoughts of it were coming up in my head because Channel Mum have asked us to talk about our experiences with mental health, and I was thinking about it and thinking, I'm not going to do my story. It's too much for me to talk about. I feel like it opens up Pandora's box. And then I thought, no, I'm going to talk about it because I feel it's such a huge part of my life, massive. It's 80% of my life that I'm hiding from you because it's not actually characteristic of what you might think it is. Before I explain to you what it is, this mental health illness, disorder, has taken and stolen pretty much the whole of my late teens and early 20s. It's nearly killed me twice. I've had 2 cardiac arrests. I have severe health problems that continue on to this day because of it. It's robbed me of an awful lot. It's almost destroyed my family. The children came, that was the focus of my life, basically. And the illness that I want to talk to you about today is anorexia. Even just saying it, I feel a bit sick because it's not the typical anorexia that you think it is. It's not the anorexia where you feel fat. My anorexia started because of something completely different. It's such a strong word that I can't even bring myself to put it in the title. I don't want my photo. This is how much of a stigma I suppose there is still. So frightened to put my photo with that name together that I won't do it, and I won't do it for the title of this video. So if you find this video, then great, and if you don't, then fine. But my anorexia began when I was as young as 5 years old. I say anorexia, I had disordered eating, so my eating was very, very disordered at the age of 5 years old. I couldn't ever eat food groups together, and if I did eat them together, they were very, very contaminated. It was fine until I was about 13. And it was the night before I was about to start secondary school, and we went to go and visit my secondary school, and I had a really bad tummy ache. And that night I was sick, and really sick, and I was up all night being sick, and we think I had food poisoning. I remember somebody saying to me, my mum I think it was something she ate, maybe it was the chicken. And in my mind right then I thought, chicken, bacteria, food poisoning, vomiting. I had at that moment developed a very, very severe emetophobia. And emetophobia is the fear of vomit. And it was so bad, like I would rather chop my arm off than be sick. At that point, I came home probably a couple of days later and said, Mum and Dad, I want to be a vegetarian. I don't want to eat meat. It's going to make me sick. It was around the time as well of the whole BSE thing. So like 95, I think, 94, 95. I then refused to eat any of the meals my mum and dad were cooking for me, and I decided I wanted to cook my own meals. And all my own meals were vegetarian meals, and I had this plate that I would only eat off this particular plate. So already there was rules and rituals. None of it had anything to do with being fat or skinny or nothing to do. My eating disorder, my anorexia is not... This is why I want to kind of break this notion that anorexia is just about body image, because it's not. Anorexia can form in many different ways. Yeah, I had this plate, started to was only able to eat off this plate, and one day I melted this plate in the microwave and I didn't eat for 2 days because I could not eat off anything other than this plate. Roll forward a few years and someone got ill with a salad. Someone I know got ill with a salad, and that was it then. I just could not eat hardly anything. I began to completely restrict my food intake. Just consumed me. Anything to do with, the preparation of food. It would take hours to prepare any food. The surfaces just needed to be constantly wiped down. Cutlery, I didn't trust cutlery. I only had a certain set of cutlery. There was just all these rules and everything. In that time, my body, obviously, I was emaciated. I had lost so much weight. I think I went down to something like 34 kilograms, which is, I don't know how many stone that is, but it was about 34 kilograms. and I was about kind of 21 at this time. Between the ages of 18 and 21, when I'd gone to uni, it wasn't so bad, but at 21 I had a breakdown in a relationship, and it really triggered things off for me again, and it escalated, it ramped it up, it got really, really bad. I can't even begin to tell you what happened during that time, and I won't go into it because so much happened. But basically, between the ages of 21 and 28, my life was hospitals, more hospitals, acute hospital overnight stays for intravenous liquids, low potassium, problems with my kidneys, kidney failure. It was just constant in and out of hospital. I hadn't had a period since I was 15. When you haven't had your period for that long, your body basically just stops producing calcium. So my bones are that now, even of a 70, 80-year-old. I have quite severe osteoporosis, and I've got to be very careful when it snows, when I go out and it's slippy. Certain activities. I used to be a figure skater, which I absolutely love doing, and I have been figure skating since, but again, I shouldn't even be doing it because I'm at such high risk of breaking my bones. This of the stomach, so I have treatment for that. Complete duodenal opening in the flap in the top of my stomach, so it's due to severe acid reflux that I've had from not eating and over medicating, so drinking an obscene amount of Coke, Diet Coke, which I just used to live off. Pancreas, have really raised amylase, and that's still under investigation. We don't know why that is. I used to get so cold, like really cold. I remember one day in my flat, I moved into this a flat in a really nice area of Bristol. I wanted to live with like the movers and shakers, but the flat was pretty grim. I mean, it was just so small and so cold. And particularly with being so underweight, I was just always just so cold. And this particular winter was a particularly bad one. And I got in the shower and I actually burnt myself where I was trying to warm myself up. That was horrible. Skin problems, skin lesions, bed sores on my knees, sores on my skin. Sleep was just something that just didn't happen. I had very severe insomnia. I'd go to bed at like 1 and then wake up at like 4, have a cup of tea, read a book for an hour, go back to bed, wake up at 5. Like, it was very, like, severe lack of sleep. This is another thing that happened. Because my weight got so low, my brain started to morph. And gaining weight then became very scary. Even though I never had any issues with my weight and my appearance, I then became safe in the way I was. People knew me as I was and would comment when I started to look well. And the, "oh, you look really well," would really freak me out. Even though, like I said, I never felt fat in the beginning. Physiological things that's going to happen to you as a consequence of severe weight loss. Weekly bloods. So kind of bi-weekly blood, so 2 blood tests kind of every week to check my blood levels, and often I'd get a phone call, "please can you get to the hospital because you need an IV potassium or IV this, that and the other." I lost my hair at one point. I lost like a good chunk of hair around here, if I remember rightly. Just lost my life. I couldn't work, so I was at uni and I was studying. I went back to do a second degree, but I couldn't work. I couldn't, I mean, I don't think anyone would have employed me just looking at me. I think they would have automatically seen that I wasn't really particularly employable. I think my appearance probably put people off. I remember looking out my window one day, it'd been about 5 years, and thinking, this is my life. This is going to be my life forever. I'm never going to marry. I'm certainly never going to have children, because having had no periods, I was told I'd never have children. And just a feeling that I'd let my family down. I'm an only child. I was the only one there, and I guess there was a lot of pressure in being an only child. I've experienced a variety of different types of abuse, not from my family. My family are great, but I'm talking other people. Sure, that had a massive part to play in it as well. I had tried in that time to have a variety of different types of therapy, numerous stays in hospital, in inpatient units that weren't even in Bristol, hospital stays, day therapy programs, and every single time I was kicked out because of non-compliance, or I didn't gain weight, or doing stupid things like hiding food and just not, practicing rituals. You're not really supposed to practice rituals, so constantly cleaning, checking food. One place where we had to kind of like prepare our own meals, and I'd char the chicken so that it was so charred to kill everything. There was a lot of inpatient stays as well of just kind of weight restoration, so tube feeding and that kind of stuff. And actually I really kind of preferred those because I didn't have to worry about actual proper food. I could be nourished without actual food, and that kind of felt very safe. In about 2009, a friend came over and she showed me The Secret. And if you guys don't know what The Secret is, it's a bit Americanized, but it's basically a film about the law of attraction and how like attracts like, and what you think about you bring about, and thinking positively. Now, up until this point, I did suffer from depression, and the depression was a consequence of malnutrition, a lot of it, and just the fact that I was in such a bad place, you know, my life wasn't going anywhere. Some kind of light bulb went off in my head and I was like, that's it. I can't change the eating disorder. I can't change that. But I can change what I do with my life. I started applying for voluntary placements. The voluntary placements started turning into paid placements. And I started to really sort of what you think about, you bring about. And I stopped feeling depressed as well. I started to have more of a social life and felt like there was hope. Yes, I wasn't going to be rid of this illness anytime soon, but I was going to be happy. So I decided to go one summer in between my final year, I think it was, travelling. I'd saved up as much money as I possibly could, and I went travelling for 3 months nearly, and my doctor wouldn't even sign my insurance forms because he said I was just too ill to go, but I just went anyway. I just got on a plane and I just went. I booked all my trips. I met a few friends in different places. I went around Southeast Asia, Malaysia, did all the Malaysian islands, I went to some amazing places, Singapore. It was just the best trip ever, Thailand, and I'm so glad I did it. And looking back, it was pretty dangerous, but it was risky. But I wasn't going to let this condition stop me. Around that time, I was actually in a relationship with somebody else, and the relationship didn't feel like it was kind of going anywhere. So I decided to put end the relationship, and for me, that was a really big deal, because to feel that I was worth more than what that relationship was offering me was a kind of a sign that I felt confident in myself. And not long after I met Chris, and I met him on the internet, and we were chatting and stuff, and we just got on so well. And then the first day that we ever met, it was literally like love at first sight. Kind of the beginning of where we are now. And like I said, I was still very poorly during that time. But the thing that but I slowly started to get a bit better. Not long after I met him, my periods came back. So that was a sign that I was obviously eating a little bit more, because although he was away a lot with the army, when he did come back, I would really try and make an effort. He'd really support me around cooking and supported me around trying to break the kind of rituals that I had. What I eat has never been a problem. It's just, I mean, when I say what I eat, meat has been a problem. But other than that, I'm okay with like packaged stuff. I'm not worried about calories or any of that. It's more about, has it been cooked properly? You know, is it going to make me sick? What's the sell-by date? That kind of stuff. So we got married, and we moving into our new house, I think really into a new area where people didn't know my history, I think made all the difference. I'm not going to lie, it's still a big problem, particularly when I'm pregnant. When I'm pregnant with nesting and everything, it gets really, really bad. It was so bad when I was pregnant with Albert. Admittedly, at the beginning of the pregnancy, I was very, very sick, so I never really gained much weight. But during the pregnancy, a lot of these behaviours, it all resurfaced, and for that reason, I was very undernourished when I was pregnant with Albert. And I have been told that this is probably the reason why Albert had a problem with his heart. I don't want to make this video too long. It's very hard to condense years and years and years of such a severe eating disorder into such a small time frame. I could tell you hundreds and hundreds of stories of hospitals and this and that and this. I'm trying to just compile all the bits that are kind of, because it still is extremely complex. I've not long finished my latest treatment, and this is the first time I've ever actually had active treatment that isn't weight restorative or to do with kind of just eating. This is actual psychological treatment, and I stuck through the course, and I've never completed a course before because I've always, like I said, been kicked off. So I'm over the moon about that, and I'm still continuing to see people about it to this day. One thing that's massively helped me as well is when we went to do NCT, we learnt about the gut microbiome in children. In Western culture, we have some of the worst microbiomes and gut cultures in the world. Because we over-sterilise things, and everything's sterilised and sanitise everything, and it's actually incredibly bad for children to do that, and bad for developing their microbiome and making their guts strong so that they can tolerate things. We don't sterilise at all with Albert being that he's breastfed, you don't need to sterilise the equipment anyway, but we've never sanitised anything. Maybe if it's gone into something really like germy, then I will, but I'm trying really hard to not do that, and thinking it's for Albert's benefit. We're starting forest school, for example. I let him play in dirt in the mud kitchen. Obviously like fresh kind of garden dirt, not kind of just street dirt, just so you know. The more you expose yourself to something, the more it helps you. The more you avoid it, the worse it gets. Till about 2 or 3 years ago, I couldn't really eat out very well, but now I'm completely fine with eating out, because in my own home, the rituals start to come back. Never in a million years did I ever think that I'd get married, and certainly never thought I'd have children. In fact, when Chris and I decided we wanted to conceive, I was immediately then referred to a fertility clinic as opposed to waiting a year, because they were so convinced, they knew that I was not going to be able to have children. And being a mother, I think, was really the making of me, because before that I was very lost. I didn't have any sense of direction. This is a very hard video for me to film, and I thank Channel Mum for bringing this topic up and allowing me to film this video, because it's meant that I can be very honest with you. Channel Mum have a whole playlist where you can go and find out about mental health issues, and if you click in the links down below, you can go and find them out. It's an amazing place to go if you need to find your village, if you want to get more support, you know. Go and visit Channel Mum. They have a massive hub, an array of information there for you to access. There's going to be loads of the girls on Channel Mum talking about their mental health issues, that you might be able to find videos that relate to any issues that you've had. It's really good to just not feel alone, and you are not alone. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you liked it, and please subscribe for more videos, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.